On today's battlefield, how you take out a tank really comes down to your philosophy. Are you a fan of lightweight, agile systems that are perfect for ambushes in tight urban alleys? Or do you go for a long-range powerhouse that can control open country from kilometers away? This is the fundamental conflict between two very different anti-tank guided missiles, France's ERYX and Russia's Kornet. One is a short-range brawler, born for the chaos of city blocks and dense forests. The other is a long-range sniper, designed to reach out and eliminate the most advanced armor on the planet before its crew even knows they're in the crosshairs. In this video, we're breaking down their brutal cost and power showdown. We'll see which system gives you more bang for your buck, which philosophy makes more sense in modern combat, and which one you'd want on your side in 2026. This isn't just about comparing specs, it's a clash of battlefield doctrines. First up, let's meet our contenders. In one corner, we have the urban specialist, the French-made ERYX. Development kicked off in the late 1970s when the French military realized it had a serious gap in its arsenal. Unguided rockets weren't accurate enough, and the big, long-range anti-tank missiles were too slow and clunky for close-quarters fighting. The answer was the ERYX, a system designed specifically to own the space between 50 and 600 meters. It entered service in 1994 as a portable, shoulder-fired weapon that a single infantryman could carry and operate, perfect for the messy, short-range fights that define urban warfare. Its killer feature is a soft launch, which lets it be fired safely from inside buildings, a game-changing advantage in a city fight. In the other corner, we have the battlefield dominator, Russia's 9M133 Kornet. The Kornet was developed in the late 1980s and early 1990s with a clear mission: to destroy the best main battle tanks the West could field, like the American M1 Abrams and the German Leopard 2. It officially entered service with the Russian Army in 1998, not to replace older systems, but to add a heavy-hitting, top-tier tank killer to their toolbox. The Kornet is all about overwhelming power and standoff distance. This isn't a weapon for a lone soldier to sling over their shoulder. It's a crew-served system, usually mounted on vehicles, that values destructive force and engagement range above all else. So there's our matchup, the agile French specialist against the brute force Russian powerhouse. Now, let's see how they stack up. Guidance and control. This round is all about the brains of the operation, the guidance system. How do these missiles actually hit what they're aiming at? The ERYX uses a system called wire-guided SACLOS, which stands for Semi-Automatic Command to Line of Sight. It's a brutally simple and effective method. The operator just has to keep their crosshairs on the target, and the firing post sends steering corrections to the missile through a pair of super-thin wires that unspool behind it. The huge advantage here is that it's resistant to electronic jamming and countermeasures like flares. But it has its downsides. The wire can snap if it snags on something, and its physical length is what limits the missile's 600-meter range. The operator also has to stay put and exposed, tracking the target all the way to impact. The Kornet, however, uses a more modern laser beam riding SACLOS system. Instead of physical wires, the launcher paints the target with a coated laser beam. The missile has a sensor in its tail that follows this beam right to the bullseye. This immediately solves the range issue of wires and makes it immune to radio frequency jamming. This laser guidance lets the Kornet reach out to incredible distances, way beyond the ERYX. The main drawback is that advanced tanks often have laser warning receivers that can tell when they're being targeted, giving the crew a precious few seconds to pop smoke screens or take other evasive actions. Still, in terms of raw capability and range, the laser gives the Kornet a massive technological edge. Mobility and deployment. A weapon is useless if you can't get it to the fight. This round is all about portability and how these systems actually get used on the battlefield. Here, the ERYX is the clear winner. It was built from the ground up for the individual soldier. The whole system is man-portable. The firing post is about 4.5 kilograms, and the missile in its tube is 13 kilograms. A single soldier can carry, set up, and fire the ERYX in seconds, making it perfect for mobile infantry navigating complex terrain like dense woods or bombed-out cities.
The Kornet is a different beast entirely.
The man-portable version needs a two-person crew to handle its much heavier parts. The launcher, tripod, and thermal sight together weigh over 60 kilograms. This isn't something you just casually haul into combat. Because of this, the Kornet is most often mounted on vehicles, from armored cars like the ATGM to infantry fighting vehicles. This approach gives it great operational mobility for a mechanized army, but it loses that granular, go-anywhere portability of the ERYX. That said, Russia is heavily invested in modernizing the Kornet. The newer Kornet EM launchers can be remotely controlled, letting operators engage targets from a safer distance. For the lone grunt on foot, ERYX wins on portability, no question. But for a mechanized force, the Kornet's vehicle integration offers a different, more powerful kind of flexibility. Range and power. Alright, the main event. Which missile reaches farther, and which one hits harder? This is where the two systems really show their differences. The ERYX is a short-range specialist with a maximum effective range of just 600 meters. Before we get to the final verdict and see how these systems really measure up in 2026, we want to hear from you. Based on what you've seen, which system do you think has the edge, and why? Let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into military tech, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. The verdict: scenarios and superiority in 2026. So, which weapon is actually better? The real answer, as always, is it depends on the job. For urban warfare, the ERYX is the hands-down winner. In the tight alleys and ruined buildings of a city, long range is useless. What matters is portability and the ability to fire from cover. The ERYX's lightweight and soft launch system, which lets an operator fire from inside a room without getting blasted by backblast, make it the ideal tool for urban ambushes. Its 600-meter range is more than enough for street-to-street combat. For the open battlefield, the crown goes to the Kornet, and it's not even a fair fight. Its massive advantage in range and power allows it to create a huge kill zone, destroying enemy armor from a position of relative safety. Vehicle-mounted Kornet EM systems, with their ability to salvo-fire 2 missiles at a single target or engage 2 different targets at once, represent a battlefield-dominating capability that the ERYX just can't counter. But what about their relevance in 2026? This is where the story gets interesting. The French army is already phasing out the ERYX. While its service life was extended, it is being replaced by newer, more capable systems. The long-range role is filled by the 5th-generation Acheron MP, which entered service in 2017. For short-range work, the Swedish NLAW is being brought in as an interim solution. This tells you that for a top-tier military, the ERYX's design is now considered a generation behind. Russia, on the other hand, is doubling down on the Kornet. They are continuously upgrading it, with the Kornet EM adding automated target tracking, remote operation, and even the ability to take on low-flying helicopters and drones. Russia is also developing smaller, lighter missiles like the Bulat for the Kornet system, designed to take out less armored targets more affordably. This shows the Kornet platform isn't just relevant, it's evolving into a versatile weapon system for the modern era. Finally, What about value for money? While exact costs are hard to pin down, a single ERYX missile is generally considered cheaper than a Kornet missile. But value isn't just about the price tag. The ERYX offers good value for its very specific niche, a portable, short-range defensive weapon. But the Kornet, despite its higher cost per shot, provides value through its sheer capability. The ability to destroy a multi-million-dollar main battle tank from 8 kilometers away is a value proposition that's tough to beat, especially for a nation preparing for large-scale conventional war. In the end, this showdown between the ERYX and the Kornet perfectly illustrates a core military truth. There's no single best weapon, only the right tool for the right job. The ERYX is a specialized scalpel engineered for one type of surgery, close quarters combat. It's portable, effective, and was perfectly suited for infantry fighting block by block. But its time on the cutting edge is over, as more versatile and advanced systems are taking its place. The Kornet is the long-range sledgehammer. It sacrifices portability for unmatched power and reach, designed to dominate open battlefields and challenge the world's most advanced armor. Its ongoing evolution proves that its core philosophy, long-range, high-power engagement, remains central to modern military doctrine. So, while the urban brawler had its day, the battlefield powerhouse continues to adapt and thrive. The choice between them isn't just about specs, it's about strategy, doctrine, and ultimately, how you plan to win the fight.